Hello and welcome back to History Year 2 Unit Tutorial, and this is part 2 of 2 videos. My name is Megan Latchford and I'm a Design Lead at Art Curriculum Plus for Primary History, Geography and Science. This video will walk you through the following areas: how to adapt activities and lessons, how to plan for the Enquiry Question, and key moments within the unit to look out for. A great resource to use to adapt pupil activities in this unit is the online ebook workbook. I'm going to show you a demonstration of how to use the ebook to adapt activities, and here I'll be using a Year 3 Science workbook, but this video applies to all year groups and all subjects. To access the ebook workbook for this unit, log into Oxford OWL, select the year group and subject you want, in this case Science Year 3, in your case History Year 2, and the first resource on the list is the ebook. This is an online exact copy of the pupil workbook. Use the arrows to scroll through the pages, and you can find all the units within this workbook, just like in the physical copy. Select the activity you want to adapt by using the snipping tool and highlighting that section. You may be familiar with the snipping tool, but it can be found by searching in the search bar, like in this image here, or by simultaneously pressing Windows, Shift and S. Then you drag your mouse to highlight the area you want to copy, and that section of your screen will be copied to your clipboard. And now you can press Paste, and that section will be pasted onto the document you want. Sometimes you may find that Word works best, and sometimes perhaps Publisher. I like to use Word for the draw tool if I want to highlight anything or write in handwriting, and Publisher is quite good for moving around text boxes and shapes. Now you can adapt the activity in any way you want. Here you can see I'm actually adding an extra label, but adapt the activity to the needs of your class. Then you can print this out and stick it on top of the activity in the pupil workbook. You can find the knowledge quiz booklet on Oxford OWL with this unit's resources. And knowledge quizzes can be implemented in a variety of ways, which entirely depend on what works best for you as a class. They are an important step to check for understanding and address any misconceptions, so try not to miss them out. We have found from teacher feedback that most teachers teach these quizzes with people at desks independently answering the questions, and this is great if it works for your pupils, and keep doing if so. But there are other options if you feel this isn't the best method for your class, especially in Key Stage 1. You could read through the questions and options as a whole class and go through each question and answer one by one, breaking it down into bite-sized chunks. For Key Stage 1, you may be using carpet time in your classroom, so you could have pupils on the carpet answering the questions by showing a number on their hands, for example 1, 2, 3. To keep track of answers, you can keep a record of the general consensus the class has come to, or even make a note in the workbook you've kept aside as a teacher copy. The aim of the knowledge quiz is to assess the new learning from the previous lesson, and you can adapt this to any method which best suits your class. This is the first workbook activity for Lesson 1. I'm going to run through the activities in the workbook from Lesson 1 to 6 and give some suggestions on how you may adapt. You don't have to use my examples or even adapt a tool if you don't need to, but these are suggestions for ways in which you could. For this activity, the key words have been highlighted to match the corresponding part of the diagram to support pupils when assessing which word goes where. Another way is by giving examples or partially completing the activity so pupils feel confident in understanding the task. You could always print out the keyword box for pupils to cut and stick in the words instead of writing. To stretch pupils, you could create a challenge activity where pupils need to add more words or phrases to the diagram. For this activity in Lesson 2, pupils draw out all the events day by day of the Great Fire of London. Here I'm showing you just the first 2 days. To support pupils on what to draw, you could add keywords to each box like so. Or you could create picture cards with words to match each keyword in the box, so pupils sort them and match them to the correct day, like so. Or you could add images to the slide to offer pupils inspiration with their drawings. As a challenge activity, you can ask pupils to label their drawings or even write sentences beneath them. For lesson 3, pupils are asked to imagine what their five senses will be feeling during the fire. To support pupils, you could add images to the corresponding slides to give them inspiration, like so. For further support, you could offer pupils keywords in each box for them to circle, like so. Or you could even support them further by adding symbols next to each box for each of the five senses. You can see I've done this here for the I can hear box. As a challenge activity, pupils could write their ideas from each box into full sentences, and this could either be verbally or it could be a written answer. For the lesson 4 activity, pupils label why the fire spread so quickly. You could take the answers from the answer slide and turn them into cut-out labels for pupils to match and stick to the correct picture. You could even edit these labels to 1 or 2 words to support even further. As a challenge, you could ask pupils why this certain reason meant the fire spread so quickly. For example, buildings are made of wood meant the fire spread quickly because wood burns easily. For this activity, you give pupils a sentence opener, as you can see on the right-hand side, as often beginning a sentence can trip pupils up. This takes that barrier away. You could also remove the lines by sticking a blank box on top, so lines aren't daunting to pupils. Pupils could draw an answer or bullet point key ideas instead. You could also receive a verbal response from a pupil, which is recorded by an adult if possible. As a challenge, pupils could explain what other feelings Hannah might be feeling. For example, anger at whoever started the fire, or fear for her family and friends. In this Lesson 6 activity, pupils are supposed to write, how would you have redesigned London after the fire? The planning guidance for this activity gives you options. This could be a drawing activity with or without labels, or a construction activity where pupils make buildings as part of a whole class project, which could then be photographed and stuck into books, as you can see in this example here. There are many paper designs and cutouts you could use for this activity, or challenge pupils to create buildings themselves from cardboard and tape. Alternatively, you could offer pupils images to collage or copy for the activity to support them. To recap from video 1, this is the inquiry question for the unit. Lesson 6 is only an hour to provide time within the lesson for pupils to complete this activity. How pupils complete this end of unit assessment is decided by your school or year group or your class teacher. So now is a great time to think ahead to plan for what this will look like. To support teachers with implementing the inquiry question, we have created an inquiry question support document. Here you can find the information you will need and an additional activity for pupils to complete. This could support them as a planning activity, be a recap of the entire unit knowledge to refresh memories before the assessment, or be edited into the assessment itself. The inquiry question support document for this unit can be found with the other resources on Oxford OWL. We recommend, before teaching the unit, you decide on how you want pupils to complete the inquiry question. And this could be as an extended write, a poster, a presentation, a question paper, a multiple choice quiz, or whatever best suits your class. When you've made this decision, complete it yourself to be aware of any challenges or adaptations you may need to make. For every unit, there are elements that will need to be planned in advance by the class teacher. In Key Stage 1, you will need to print the knowledge quiz booklet for pupils and plan where you will keep them between lessons. This could be in a pile with you or slipped into the front of the workbooks. You'll need to plan an engaging hook. How will you get pupils interested and engaged in the learning to come? This could be creating art or watching interesting videos. You will need to print off any additional resources per lesson. Not every single lesson always has an additional resource, so make sure you check before you teach. You will also need to gather resources for specific lessons. For example, in Lesson 3, You need to prepare an example diary, quill and ink, and craft feathers, blue or black paint, and brown or yellow paper. In Lesson 6, you will need to gather construction resources to create a 3D model of an improved London, or images for pupils to copy as they design and draw into their books. Here's a list of possible trips and recommended reading for pupils. You could pause the video here to read through the list. Hopefully you now feel confident about accessing and teaching this unit. Any questions, please send to primarymastery@artcurriculumplus.org.uk, and we welcome all feedback to ensure that these resources are as supportive as possible.